Hey everyone, welcome to the program WRSA Radio. I am your host, Grenadier1. As always, I hope you're having a good week. I've had a long one at work, dealing with some personnel issues and things that have shaken out from that. I tell you, people going on leave. Anyway, today I have gone down a rabbit hole of communications that I want to mention real quick before I get to the main topic, because I think it's kind of interesting. This is more of a praxis for the general community, the prepper types, if you will. If you are familiar with old military phones, field phones is what I'm talking about, the old TA series field phones, you may recognize what I'm about to tell you about. I found a video over on YouTube of some young nerdy guys. I believe the channel is called Nick Snacks, which I'll try to go back and find the link to the channel and put it down in the description of the video. Anyway, they've done something kind of cool. The old military TA field phones, TA series field phones that you're probably more familiar with, battery powered, analog. You hook them up with some phone wire, two pair phone wire or a single pair phone wire. You turn the handle, they ring down, and you talk. They're real simple, basic comm technology, and they are great, and they're really popular with like I said, the preparedness community, but also just several other different groups. Use these things, people who go down in caves and things like that, or people on farms, this kind of thing. So they're really, really cool. And they're available from around the world, from various militaries on surplus pages and whatnot, because it's a easy technology. They're pretty ubiquitous, and you can get one from Russia and it'll work with one from Sweden or one from the US. It's the same kind of technology all over the place. Very cool, and not too difficult to find. But like all things, there is a limit to them, and there can be times when they're scarce to come across. Sometimes you go through these spells where you can't find one, or the things are on back order, and then somebody will come across a bunch in a certain warehouse somewhere, and boom, they hit the market and whatnot. But sometimes when you're out there looking for these things, you will find the more modern digital versions of those field phones, and those are usually a little cheaper to buy because they do not work like the more simple analog systems. And in fact, you need to really get all of the features out of them and the more robust utility out of them, you need some complex signaling gear to make them function correctly. Well, that is until now. These guys on this channel have back engineered the signaling, and not only have they written code for it, they have engineered a kit so that you can build the switch and connect at least 4 of these units up in a small network. Now, I don't know yet if you can get more than 4. Maybe you can connect some of these switches together. I'm not real sure yet. I have not gone all the way down the rabbit hole yet, but it's fairly new that they're putting these videos up here within the last week or so. So we'll see what comes out of that. But anyway, I think it's kind of cool, and it might be useful info for you. So go check it out over on that channel. And like always, I like to kind of promote and put some attention on people and channels and things that I think are worthy of that. So anyway, let's get into the meat of the show this week and talk about things that happened yesterday, or at least came to light yesterday. I don't know if the New York thing actually happened yesterday, but anyway, first off, in Atlanta, we had a young man who had a mental health episode, and I'm using that terminology in this video because I'm not trying to be PC, but just because I don't know for sure what it is that has happened to these 2 individuals. So I'm being generic with that. This guy had an episode, and he decided to deal with that episode by lashing out at those around him in the middle of a medical office. He was in this office with his mother. who had brought him to this appointment. And apparently there was some kind of dispute, some kind of disagreement, and he pulled a firearm, shooting 5 women in the office, in the waiting room, and with him. One of the victims unfortunately passed away at the scene, and 4 others went to the hospital. You may have read about this or seen this on your media of choice. Anyway, the young man flees the scene, and a manhunt ensues. He was captured, thankfully, later in the evening, north of the city, but this was after carjacking a vehicle and taking to the road. The other incident that we're going to talk about happened in New York. Another man having a mental health episode enters a subway train and begins to verbally instigate conflict with other passengers. And eventually he directly threatens the passengers, saying that he could, I believe he said he could kill someone on the train. But at any rate, at this point, a prior service Marine confronts him and places him in a chokehold. And with the help of a couple of other passengers, they detain this man until police arrive. Now, the guy was arrested, taken to the hospital, where he later passed away. This is what we're going to go into today, but I'm going to try to steer clear of some of the kind of the typical storylines that have come up on these, at least directly. And I'm going to look at these stories from the standpoint of not just the reactions in the media and the public, which is the typical stuff, but really what they signal for the country as a whole. I think these two events, seemingly unrelated, are yet more symptoms to the declining state of the West. So let's look at the Atlanta event first. And once again, we have a mentally ill man who goes on a shooting spree, and he's a former member of the Coast Guard, which entitled him to medical care from the VA. He is, however, seeking care and treatment at a private medical center in downtown Atlanta. And to me, this speaks very loudly about the quality of care that comes from the VA. And I've seen that up close with both my grandfather as well as other relatives who have had to deal with treatment from the VA. It's not a pleasant experience. It's not the highest quality of care by any stretch of the imagination. It's vastly inadequate. It's bad enough when we're dealing with care for physical ailments like kidney function or physical therapy, broken bones, those kind of things. But it becomes potentially dangerous when we're talking about a patient base that has a lot of people dealing with mental health issues. Let's face it, there's a lot of veterans who have to face these kind of demons. People, seeking help, and they're getting this very inadequate treatment. They're being medicated sometimes overly, sometimes not enough, and sometimes when they don't need medication at all. And these substances are potentially dangerous, not to just to the person who took them, but clearly to everyone around them. This particular case with the Atlanta event, the mother was quoted as saying that he had gone to the VA looking for an Ativan, and they had given him some other kind of medication, and he was dissatisfied with that, and this event all ensued from that disagreement. I don't know the details of all of that yet. I don't think all of that's really come out. But anyway, the reactions to these things tell you all that you need to know, because immediately we have Raphael Warnock jump up in front of the Senate and demand more gun regulations. And he's not the only one. But why don't we talk about the meds? Why is it that no one wants to talk about what medications that these shooters are on? And not only is that curious for what it means about the power that Big Pharma has, but it's indicative of an explosive situation that our government has created. We have a very large group of veterans dealing with mental health issues, as I said, and that the government medical care is pumping full of who knows what kind of mind-altering substances. These are people who can go off and cause violence. And before you jump on me and say, "Hey, why are you giving the vets so much grief?" I'm not. I'm really not. I don't put this on them. People have problems and people reach out for help, and they go to the so-called professionals expecting to get that help. They place trust in them, and when those people give them prescriptions for medications, they will take them. Hey, I went to my doctor, and this is what they told me to do, and so I'm taking it. But they will stop taking them when those meds make them feel bad or make them feel wrong, and that causes problems with that relationship. You can kind of recognize when something's not working or something is a problem, and you talk to some of these guys or ladies, and you say, well, why did they stop taking the meds? Well, it just I didn't feel right when I took them, and they continue to go see the same therapist or the same psychiatrist, and they keep getting the same kind of results, the same kind of treatment. It causes problems with that relationship between doctor and patient, and those should not be there. It's that trust that we've placed in the medical profession, though, that continues to bring people back to that. And recently we've come to understand that trust is misplaced. Especially over the last few years, we know that we have to question now everything, even the things that we previously thought were legit. This event in Atlanta shows you what can happen when that trust is broken. When people are treated like they are just chemical reactions and you can just give them a pill to fix everything. It's tragic that a woman lost her life yesterday, and 4 others are likely to have very long recoveries from this event. But it could have been far worse. It could have been more victims. Unfortunately, this is yet another event that fits the anti-gun agenda, and that is how it is being framed. For me, however, this is yet another sign that this society is collapsing. Our government is willing and wanting to create this environment for these events to happen, and they take advantage of these situations that they have fomented in order to push for more and more control, more and more of their agenda. Never let a crisis go to waste. And they don't want to talk about true solutions. And to me, that's how you know that what I'm saying is true. They don't want to discuss what is really going on here and what is really at work, because various reasons, unfortunately. But that brings me to the event in New York. As I said, this looks to be like it's unrelated, but it's not. It's yet another example of the government creating a crisis and taking advantage of the results to push an agenda. Now, the agenda is a little different in this case, but it's related nonetheless. In this event, the man having the mental health episode was very familiar to police. Apparently, he had been arrested many times. And I believe the number was 40 times is what I was seeing. He's been in jail before and released all of those times. So he's out yet again to prey on the public. And the government in this case, it's the local government in New York, but this is a product of a wider policy and agenda. They've refused to prosecute this individual. Or at least they've refused to hold him in jail until he's prosecuted and kept in jail permanently. I don't know the exact situation, but it's the same effect regardless. This guy was out of jail where he clearly belonged and preying on the citizens of the city. Well, he ran into someone who saw the potential danger. This situation could have become something far worse. This man was having a mental health issue, and this could have turned into a mass casualty situation. This prior service Marine recognized danger, and he acted, along with some other passengers, to stop a potential attack. We could have been seeing reports of a lot of people wounded or worse on a train in New York. We could have had another version of what happened in Atlanta, or what has happened in many other cases. And the only victim in this situation was the man having the mental health episode. The Marine in question was released after he was questioned by authorities, and is so far not facing any charges. And I say so far because these situations are, getting vastly different reactions from the public. The unfortunate, all too typical reactions these days. Atlanta was not a mental health issue, according to these people. It's a gun crime issue, and we need more gun control, according to the media and these agenda pushers. But New York, well, see, that's a racial issue because the Marine was white and the mental guy was black. So we apparently need more racism's control or something like that. The media and the agenda pushers are demanding that this Marine be prosecuted for murder in New York. Now, at this point, at least as I record this, that has not happened, but we'll see how it plays out. I think unfortunately we'll probably be talking about that situation changing here in the very near future. But again, this is the decline of civilization. This is the result of a systematic abdication of duty and responsibility by those who are in power. They are willingly setting the conditions to create the collapse so that they can institute what they call a great reset of society. I think it's undeniable at this point. You create a crisis so that low IQ and low attention span citizens will demand that you provide a solution. And then you institute your solution, which inevitably creates more of the problems and necessitating more and more of your solutions. The problem here is that it's working. More and more we see people who are willing to fall for this and demand the serfdom that the government is pushing, while at the same time complaining and lamenting the serfdom. It's kind of infuriating to those of us who can see this. And it leads us to ask the question, at least it leads me to ask the question, and others, as T.L. Davis posted something very similar to this, and Concerned American linked over on the mothership. We ask the question, is it worth saving? Is this society, which is so broken and battered and crumbling, worth saving? But also, are we capable of saving it? Do we have the means to save this? I think we absolutely have the skills to do it, but do we have the resources and means to do it? More and more, I don't think we do. I believe I've mentioned this on prior episodes, older episodes of the show, but I watch videos all the time. Maybe you guys do as well. But I get a lot of entertainment out of people doing restorations of old things on YouTube. I like to watch them, restore old tools or old cars or even old buildings. It's great stuff. I find it very relaxing and very very cathartic in a craftsman and artist kind of way to see things brought back to life like that. It's very, very fun. I like it. But when you watch these videos, it's sometimes surprising by what can and cannot be brought back to life. It does give me hope that we can accomplish this, but there are times that you have to look at and assess things and recognize that it's not worth saving. The investment is far too much and far too costly to justify the return. We have to ask ourselves, is that the situation that we're in? If the old system led us to the decline and fall that we're in now, then what good is that system? Does it not mean that something needs to be changed? Is it the system that was broken, or perhaps is it that the system was misused? Is it possible that the system's not for everyone? Maybe it's indicative that the system only works when the people uphold it, and that means that it's not something that works for every people. Now, I don't have a sure answer to that, but we'll keep thinking about it, and since that's all the time I have for this week, we'll have to talk about it in the future. So like and subscribe. Come see us over on Gab and the Mothership, and I will see you on the next episode.